because
I
you're
don't.
trans.
I don't understand.
I think that really does show that you're privileged in the situation then.
Yes, I believe we're both...
I think you're extremely privileged in the situation that you don't have to experience that, or that you don't have to worry about that, or consider that you don't feel like you need to respect people's pronouns.
I'm considering this. I'm asking you questions. You said these are the pronouns I need to use.
Yeah.
I said, what if I don't? You said that's an act of violence.
Yeah, I would consider that an act of violence against me.
Okay, so that's a crime. An act of violence against you is a crime.
I would consider that. I would consider you being disrespecting me as a person. And that's not okay, and that's not even ethical. It doesn't matter if it's legal, it's not ethical. And I don't know how you can do something that's considered unethical.
I don't know how you can not allow me to speak and ask questions based on your own premises. Please, we're trying to keep this civil. I haven't yelled at you. I haven't accused you of anything. You're getting very heated. You said that's an act of violence. That's a crime. Okay.
I didn't say that was a crime.
An act of violence. You said an act of violence against you is a crime. So
I did not say that.
You said it is an act of violence against you.
I said it's an act of violence, and I said misgendering anyone's an act of violence.
Yes, you said it is an act of violence against that person. That is, in fact, a crime. So here's my question. Since we've now decided we don't know the number of genders, it's a spectrum. It exists. There is no set number. You've asserted the premise that we are required to use the pronouns that are preferred by the individual. We have no idea how many pronouns there are. We can never know how many pronouns there are. And to not use a proper pronoun is an act of violence against them. Did you ask my pronouns before you sat down?
No, I didn't ask your pronouns because I haven't referred to you with pronouns.
You didn't ask my pronouns, though. You just said you can ask.
Yeah, you can ask. What are your pronouns?
But you didn't ask.
What are your pronouns?
You just talked about me being privileged. You understand no one goes around asking pronouns before they speak with people.
I asked you
how you identify yourself. And so to ask of a restructuring of society
I did ask you how you
based on a number that's not tangible with gender versus sex is something that is incredibly corrosive.
Did I not ask you how you identify yourself?
No, I don't believe so.
Yes, I did. I did actually. You said you identify.
What most people are used to seeing when it comes to plane crashes are planes that actually are trying to land safely after a malfunction of sorts, whether it's external or internal, or it could be a combination of both.
Hey, check. Alright, perfect. So, today, interesting thing to talk about. Hate speech versus free speech. No matter what, it always seems like we have to have these conversations. And it kind of drives me nuts. I get it, everyone has different opinions. Everyone can honestly think whatever they want. Most of it doesn't affect me until it does start affecting me. And in case you didn't know, you can now find Rise to Liberty on the Two System Party network. Well, I had uploaded a video, an interview I had with a very good friend of mine by the name of Adam Fitzgerald. And we had discussed a lot of issues around 9/11, and apparently somebody decided to report this interview I did with Adam for hate speech, which is so absurd to me. Hate speech, I don't even know what hate speech is. Is it hate or speech that you find hateful or that upsets your feelings? You know, I've done quite a bit of research. Let's see, just pulling something up right now. Should have already had this up. Terrible TV here. So I just find it kind of interesting. Instead of doing the proper thing by, I don't know, say, addressing it with me, coming on to another platform, somebody just decided to threaten the network's platform and report it as hate speech. First of all, I would love anyone to sit and watch this interview and actually point out to me what was so hateful about it. There might be a good argument. I don't believe that there actually is. However, I'm open to hear somebody's opinion. I don't know. So I just made some notes about it. Kind of gather my thoughts about this. So here is the screenshot that was sent to me regarding the removal. And I just find this hilarious. So let's see here. The policy that was violated was the hate speech policy. Hate speech by YouTube is considered to be content glorifying or inciting violence against another person or group of people, which is not allowed on YouTube. Also, don't allow any content that encourages hatred of another person or group of people based on their membership in a protected group. We review educational, documentary, artistic, and scientific content on a case-by-case basis. So I personally, anybody at all, go through that entire documentary, go through that entire interview. You point out anything that violates any of this hate speech policy. I dare you. Just because you don't like something doesn't make it hate speech. Sorry to tell you that. But let's see here. Let's pull this up. Let's give a fair shake. So, come on. Oh, yeah. Okay. Okay. So, hate speech. See right here, by the definition. Oh, where'd it go? Come on. Man, it's sucking. Okay, here we go. Hate speech. Abusive or threatening speech or writing that expresses prejudice on the basis of ethnicity, religion, sexual orientation, or similar grounds. Okay, so the one thing that could possibly be it, what I would assume, is the idea that some people who were involved in 9/11 were of a particular religion, ethnicity, although we didn't even address the ethnicity. Actually, that one I could be wrong about. The ethnicity could have been addressed. However, it's a little hard to not address at least the the nation of origin of some of these people when discussing this issue. That would be my guess. Would be that it was either the Saudis, the Israelis, which is why it got pulled down. Now, and the two-party system network were gracious enough to invite me to be a part of the network. Now, of course, you know, they're not children like whoever reported this. However, so they do know the risks of discussing some of these. However, it's also not up to me to get the platform destroyed for all the other guests or all the other shows on there. Which is why it bothered me so much that somebody would report this without addressing it with me. It wasn't them. It wasn't the network. It was me. You had an issue with what was said on my show. So come to me. In fact, if you have such a big issue, why don't you come onto the show? Send me an email, whoever you are, and you can come onto the show. So, we have already brought up the definition of hate speech, brought up what YouTube is calling hate speech, why it's removed. I find zero evidence. We did submit an appeal, and it was denied. Funny thing is I have the same interview up on several different platforms, and nobody has ever had an issue with it. Just this one. So, whatever grown child decided to report it because their feelings got hurt, you're a coward. You are a flat-out coward. So let's start getting into hate speech itself. Well, first, let's see. Let's pull up the very basis of free speech. We'll pull these up in between everything. Let's see here. Okay. And there we go. The First Amendment. Congress shall make no law, make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof. Okay? Or abridging the freedom of speech. Or of the press, or the right of the people peacefully to assemble and to petition the government for a redress of grievances. So this does bring up a very interesting topic of, do platforms have to abide also by the Constitution? I personally believe that this is a discussion for another episode. I have some very strong opinions about this. Go figure. Me, strong opinions? No. The point is whether a platform or a publisher, whatever the hell YouTube is, regardless of if they have to abide by it or not, the fundamental principle of hate speech itself is absurd. It's intellectually dishonest and also intellectually lazy. I like to call people who do believe in hate speech as a well-meaning authoritarian. And of course, that's probably giving too much credit to a lot of these people. The idea of hate speech is that for some reason people are powerless against words. Are there some bad words out there? Sure. Are they unpleasant to hear? Yeah. Does that mean that you should say them? No. No, it doesn't. However, preventing one person from saying something is not only threatening their free speech, it's also threatening your own. The idea to, or the ability to get rid of bad ideas needs to be fought with good ideas, not censorship. Censorship just drives things underground. Now, this is, as far as I'm concerned, because usually where the hate speech comes in, it's usually racism, right? Ooh, the big R word. Well, what's funny about that is I wholeheartedly want racists to be able to speak. I want them to speak freely, and I want them out in the open. I, unlike some just weak-willed, just terrible individuals who believe in hate speech, would rather silence these people. I want them out front speaking, screaming, whatever nonsensical belief they have. I personally want to know who the racist people are. I don't want them hiding. You censor them. That doesn't stop them. That doesn't change their mind. It just emboldens a lot of people. Take, for instance, when Alex Jones was first censored, anyone thinking that he went away or lost power, the ability to spread his message, well, he actually grew his audience because of that. It turned him into a martyr. Mind you, I'm not a huge Alex Jones fan. I do think he's funny. However, there's some issues with all kinds of stuff, but once again, another episode. However, silencing him isn't going to have the intended effect that you think it's going to, and it sure didn't. And what's funny is, no, it's just him. Just him. We're not going to be doing this to everyone else. And ever since then, on all platforms, including the ones I'm streaming to right now, have all had issues with censorship of all kinds of people. Far left, far right, just crazy conspiracy people, all kinds of things. And it was supposed to be just Alex Jones, remember? Ah, man. So, are there hateful things that people can say? Yeah, I agree with that. I agree that there are some very terrible things that people can say. But the concept of hate speech, I was listening to a video earlier where somebody claimed that words hate speech equals violence. It's a actionable offense. It's just as good as slapping somebody across the face. It is committing violence against whatever person is affected by it. Oh, man. Sorry about that. Anyways, words equal violence. And that is implying that people are powerless against words. Once again, it doesn't mean that you should say anything and everything. There are some pretty, hateful things out there. When people say that, just because they believe in a certain thing that they should die, that's pretty hateful, in my opinion. Also something I highly disagree with. it's pretty funny too, because a lot of these people, typically left-leaning, are also complaining about this hate speech, which can change from person to person, which is a big issue when it comes to the legal definition, because if it's just like violence, then that means that there's going to have to be a legal definition. You're going to have to go through a court system when people violate that. It's going to create a huge mess. And so the fact that there is no legal definition creates a whole lot of issues. But these people, typically on the left, will make fun of the right and point out how, you know, the Republicans during the 80s and stuff were trying to censor music and art, all of these other things, and it's like, but you're now doing the same thing. You're a bunch of hypocrites. Because right now, there would be a bunch of people, you know, trying to claim that music or video games cause violence or anything, and so we need to shut it down, or going back to obscenity laws. You know, that's so obscene that it shouldn't be said or done in public. And now the left, who would make fun of the right for doing these things, are now calling for the same things. I'm sorry if you don't like something, but that doesn't mean you get to dictate what other people say. It doesn't matter if you're an individual, an institution, an organization. It doesn't matter. Some people might self-censor. Some people might espouse to this. However, you're not going to tell me what to say. It's not going to happen. You got that video removed, but guess what? It's on a lot of other platforms. Go ahead and report it there too if you want, but it's not going away. So, however, I will say, grow up. Leave the network out of this. It has nothing to do with them. You have an issue with me, not them. Let's see. So, one thing that I find interesting is also the idea of hate speech is incredibly cynical and pessimistic. So, I mean, this is just a generalization. Most people who believe in hate speech, you know, believe that the world is full of racists and bigots, and that's just all everybody is. What transphobes, whatever phobes. If that's the case, then logically speaking, there would be a lot of these people in government, or at least have the ability to access government and to reach office. So you believe that the world is this big, ugly, scary place, and then on top of that, you want to be able to give the power of the government to dictate what people can and cannot say. Well, that all works fine and well as long as your people are in power. As soon as somebody who is not on your side is in power, what do you think they're going to do? They're going to turn around and use it against you. All of this it's upsetting to me because the people that promote the idea of hate speech are, you know, trying to do it, trying to save people's lives or stop people from getting offended or whatever the hell your justification is. And none of your justification is logically consistent at all. you would not want to give power to an organization that you believe to be completely corrupt and systemically racist and, systemically oppressive. It's hard to think about. Sorry, it's just so. The government, it's systemically oppressive because of all of these racist bigots and everything, and now you want to give that same organization the ability to choose what people can think. Well, if they're doing all of these terrible things, why do you want to give them more power? You psycho? Like, for whatever reason, your tiny little peanut brain thinks that this is a good idea. And I'll tell you exactly who's pushing that idea into you. It's, well, we could go down the rabbit hole of exactly who all of these people are. However, it is the establishment. So the establishment is telling you all of these things. They have tricked you into thinking that this is for the betterment of society or, the overall health of society, and you're just being a good person. Okay. Well, you don't care about any of that because you would want people of all color, age, both sexes, to be able to have the ability to say what they need. If people's speech are controlled, do you think you would ever be able to stand up against oppression? The first people to usually get oppressed are the minorities, especially coming into the country, being unfamiliar with everything. And now you want to give this government the power to dictate what they can and cannot say, because if you think for 1 second that it would stop at just hate speech and wouldn't go any further, well, I'll just leave it there before I say something stupid. You're an idiot if you think that, is what I'll say. So, let's see here. Just reading through a couple of my notes. I didn't plan on this going for very long. It's hard for me to talk about this stuff just because it's so illogical. It never ends up the way that you want it to end. And it's going to backfire on everyone who is a proponent of this. Once again, I want to know who these people are. So, because there are truly terrible people out in the world. Well, if that's the case, which it is, I want to know who they are because they're going to speak up and use their freedom of speech. Also, that means that I can turn around and use my freedom of speech to basically destroy their ideas intellectually, because that is the way that a civilized society behaves, is bad ideas are broken down by better ideas. That's also how we progress. If you want society to come to a standstill, give the government the ability to control what can and cannot be said. I will say this, that let's see here. A lot of language-controlled laws, started with the FCC. Well, it started way earlier than that. However, language control and everything as we know it today, a lot of that started with the FCC coming in, trying to shut down dissenting voices against the Vietnam War during the 60s, attacking black people's ability to be able to speak up and have their own voice as a community. And that all of this hate speech stuff is just a continuation. It's just a continuation of the exact same thing. Excuse me. And anyone who sees it differently, you need to grow up. The ability to speak what's on your mind is the ability to not only prevent, one of many ways, but it gives you the ability to actually fight back against oppression. And for a group of people who constantly talk about how oppressed this group is and that group is and everything, you are giving this group of people that you supposedly don't trust, but some reason you shill for constantly, you want to give them the ability to oppress other people. So that's why I just don't believe any of you liars. I just don't. You don't care about the oppressed. You don't care about people lifting themselves up or anything. What you care about is looking like a virtuous person to who, I don't know, I don't really care. But you don't actually care about these things. You just want to be recognized as a good person because of whatever. Well, what I can say right now is fuck you. Try to stop me from saying what I want to say. I dare you. Because it's not going to happen. It was the whole reason I started this podcast in the first place. And honestly, that's really all I have to say about this. It's so nonsensical. I'm having a hard time getting words to come up with this. Especially what is shocking to me that obviously and the Two System Party network, that's, I don't want to call it fringe, but it's definitely a smaller group politically. It's any third party. You think you would be a little bit more open-minded to things like that. I mean, I'm not asking you to agree with what I say. I'm not asking you to like what I say. I'm expecting what I'm expecting is basically the same thing that you expect, which would be the ability to speak your mind. And whoever reported this video, if I did the same thing and prevented you from speaking for whatever reason, I guarantee you would have all kinds of choice words. So yeah, that's it. That's pretty much what it is. Once again, leave the network out of this. They were gracious enough to bring me on to be a part of the team. This has nothing to do with them or their platform. You got a problem, you come to me. If it's that big of a problem, I'll bring you on the show anytime. Anytime to come on and talk about hate speech. Until then, I will say what I want, and there's nothing you can do to stop me. So fuck you. And honestly, to anyone still watching this, thank you. Like I said, it wasn't going to be a long thing, but I wanted to talk about this, especially after making a few notes. It was definitely a little overdue. This happened a while ago. Thank you for making it to this point in the stream. I am going to cut it off now. We've got some cool stuff coming up. Got all kinds of fun ideas for people who actually like diversity of thought, who will actually entertain ideas that maybe they don't agree with, but they're curious. I'm all for curiosity and intellectual diversity. So Last note that kind of reminds me is a lot of the people who believe in hate speech definitely push diversity. Diversity is our strength. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's true until you come upon intellectual diversity. And then all of a sudden, you're singing an entirely different tune. It kind of reminds me of the punk scene. You gotta dress the way we do, you gotta think the way that we do, you gotta listen to all the same music, and if you don't, then you're a conformist, man. Punks don't usually say, man, those are hippies, goddamn hippies. But, yeah, that's it's pretty interesting. Diversity on all levels, except for intellectual diversity. So basically, the point of this is that if you believe in hate speech, you need to reevaluate yourself. I don't give a shit what side of the political aisle you're from, even if you're non-political at all. If you believe in hate speech, well, you're retarded. So enjoy that one. Make sure and check us out at risetoliberty.com, risetoliberty.store, or if you want everything where you can find us, risetoliberty.com/links. And you can find that all down in the episode description. Other than that, just check us out on our social media, see what we have going on, and I'll be talking to all of you soon. So, until next time, stay free, my friends.